Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our Tecumseh deity playthrough. We're currently sitting with 3 settlements, and while I'm feeling a little bit better than our situation than I was in the first episode, we're still a little bit behind, which is to be expected. I think we do have some opportunities here, especially in regards to Segunya, but I did want to report that Firaxis dropped patch 1.0.1, so I highly recommend you go give it a read. You can find it pretty easily on Steam, but there was one important update that really impacts our gameplay, and that's that city-states will now turn into friendly independent powers on age transition instead of disappearing completely. They'll now also start with more units in the exploration in the modern ages. What this means for us is Moreau and the Ur will not necessarily be going away, although our influence with them is going to reset on the exploration age. Apparently they forgot that we were friends. We still have plenty of time before that happens. We're only 22% through the age, and so far, not making too much headway into any specific legacy path. We're still scouting around the continent. It looks like we almost have most of it explored. I have a feeling there's a little bit down here to the southwest, and it may get a little chunkier out here. So hopefully we can swing around in between Atheni and and make our way to the coastline to see what's going on up there. Here in Segunya, what I was referring to earlier is if we did end up dispersing them flat out, we would get a pretty significant boost to our culture. Now, our culture's not doing too horrible compared to the AI, and while we are gaining 17 influence per turn, I don't know if we can get both the Scythian Neapolis and Segunya. Of course, to tell you the truth, this is a pretty fantastic location, having both the camels, some gypsum, but then again, a settlement here and then another settlement here would also be pretty good. I need to get another settler down here before the AI does. It's going to make old Jose Rizal pretty mad if we do that, and we're supposed to be trying to form an alliance with them because we have the ceremonial pipe event. I don't know if we're going to be able to make that happen. Of course, if we did disband Segunya, we could settle over here, and this is not too bad of a location either. And then unfortunately, it looks like the patch did break something because I'm hitting the Y like a madman and I don't see any yield icons. Let me try a quick reload and see if that fixes it. There we go, our reload fixed it nicely. So in regards to Segunya, we don't yet have available room in our settlement limit, so I think I am going to wait for them to pop another unit. Hopefully it won't be a galley, and that way we can continue to level up our commander. And then after that, I will disperse it. Speaking of galleys, it looks like a galley just took out our scout down here. Didn't even see that one coming. That's unfortunate, but at least the scout did give themselves for the exploration. We've made it all the way to the southeast here. Looks like someone's completed the hanging gardens. And we also have a city growth here in Cahokia. I'm thinking about getting one of these resource tiles. Plus 20% production towards training units with the salt seems really good. But the overall production with the gypsum seems a little bit better. The salt is limited to just units. Now granted, the 2 production to our capital is not 20%. More production, more better. So I will grab it. And the gypsum causes Cahokia to be maxed out, so I'll have to keep that in mind. But the monk's mound that we are going to unlock with the earthworks mastery will give us +4 to resource capacity in this settlement. Must be placed on a river though, but we do have a couple of river locations, so we should be okay. And there they are, right on schedule, a nice spearman. Unfortunately, that spearman will hit hard if they come out. Luckily, we have our general fortified in here, and I'm still going to do with the normal range attack because of the experience gain compared to if we do the focus fire. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but I'd rather the experience than being able to do significant damage. And it looks like Lafayette is pretty friendly with us. Hey, buddy, you want to work on an alliance? Let me add some open borders to that relationship and see how that does. A little bit of growth in Appalachia. There's some dyes here, +3 to happiness, and it's a culture tile, so we will grab that. I'm thinking about making Appalachia a city. There's going to be a lot of great opportunities here with all of these resources and some of the adjacency bonuses you can get from buildings. Troon Trock is asking if we want to do some military aid. I'm not willing nor able to spend the amount of influence it requires, so we're just going to accept it. But that'll be another +2 gold for us. More resources. And this is considered a bonus resource, so it can go into towns. We do have a slot in Alabama, and it's a good thing we did unlock that open borders, because now we can scoot on through with our scout and continue to go towards the west. Look at Atheni. It looks like they're on a navigable river that leads to the ocean. That'd be pretty handy. Must be nice. A little disturbing, but it looks like Trung Trok already has their tier 2 archers. We're going to have to be pretty careful. Growth in Alabama. Here is some more dates, but we don't have a resource slot there, so I'm thinking just getting the culture tile here. All these are locked up by Cahokia, so I don't have to worry about culture bombing my capital. Trung Trok is apparently got a lot of influence too. I'm going to have to check her influence gain per turn. I know I've spoken about it before, but the +2 science is great, but every time we do this, she's gaining 2 more science per turn than we are. The good thing though is we have now finished becoming suzerain with the We have a few different options we can choose from. I'm thinking of just receiving the codex. Yeah, we could do the step pyramid, which is a unique improvement, but this requires even more production to put it into place. Whereas we could get a +2 science per turn just from getting the codex. And because we've slotted another codex, it looks like we've unlocked another event. +25 science or +1 production on the library. Oh, that's tough. Because +1 production on the library is forever. Whereas this is a one-time 25 science, which is only a turn and a half. I think I'm going to take the production. We also have another event, and it looks like it's because the chiefs are unhappy that we have 2 city-states. So we could gain +25 influence or +150 happiness by making the chiefs happy. But it also lowers all independent relationships by 2. We're going to take the influence. And apparently I've not finished the library. I could have sworn we finished the library. So this codex is not even slotted yet. What are we doing over here? All right, 1 turn until we finish the library. That's not too shabby. Another pop shot on the spearman. 32 more damage for 4 more experience. Very nice. Lafayette wants to start a local festival. I am considering doing this because we'll get more relationship points if I support it. We do still get some with the local festival. I don't necessarily need the happiness. So I think I'm going to take the influence. We're already building a decent relationship, so maybe we get the alliance with them. Our library is finished in Cahokia. It's about time. So now we can make sure that we slot the codex. There we go. Brings us up to 21 science per turn. Still lagging a little bit behind the AI. I wonder how they're getting so much science. For instance, I'm taking a look at Lafayette here. They have 4 science coming from their library, 3 from the palace. There's 1 from this mine here. Granted, we don't have full vision of all their areas. Interesting. I do not yet know what the cheat mechanic is for civilizations on the deity AI. The AI does get a bonus for their units during combat. I think it's +8 when you're on deity. Well, one thing I can tell you, look at all these science tiles. The tropical rainforests. And that's only going to get better and better over here. Maybe it's their start positions that become a little bit better. None of our tiles have any science. Time for more production in Cahokia. I think we're going to end up going with a warrior. We need to bolster our military just in case. And I'm not too killing excited about any of these buildings. So we'll readdress that in a couple of turns when I get another warrior or 2. What happened to the little spearman? Come back, buddy. I want to kill you. I'll send that warrior over there, because I don't want to take the burning arrow out of the fortification. We have finished the mastery to earthworks, which means we do get the +1 settlement limit, so I think we're going to get started on a settler. We also have access to the shell-tempered pottery, tradition, and the monk's mound, so I think we're going to go settler into monk's mound. We also have the opportunity to change our policies. All buildings receive a +1 gold adjacency for resources. I think this is going to be a little bit better than +2. Right now, in the top left, I can see I'm getting 26 gold per turn. Oh, wow, I have a lot of gold. I need to spend some of that. And now we're getting +30 per turn. Here's our warrior. I'm going to send them over here. Next up is going to be a settler for 5 turns. Or I can just straight purchase it for 360. Yeah, let's do that. That way, we get the settler out sooner. It's 18 turns, but it will allow us to slot more resources and will give us 1 wonder. Now, where do we put this? There's an adjacency bonus for the library, adding another science here. Or we can go 3 food, 1 happies. I think we're just going to do a 3 food, 1 science tile. A little bit better. Lafayette's offering a culture exchange. We do have a little bit more influence right now, so I think we will take the bonus to the culture. I don't plan on spending any of that influence in the short term on any of these city-states. Our settler can also begin to take off this way. There's nothing hostile, so I don't have to worry about that. Now the question is, where are we going to settle? I'm thinking we remove Segunia from the equation and see what the AI recommends. But there is a couple of freshwater tiles here. Looks like maybe this one might be the best, because then we're in range of the dyes, the salt, the iron, the silver, the jade. I mean, even the fish. Next up on the civic tree, the Wahi gives our burning arrows more pillaging ability. The Kanaha gives us another +2 resource capacity in the capital, plus gift economy, which is +1 gold and happiness for every imported resource, which lends itself heavily to trade. But we haven't even locked Code of Laws yet. Code of Laws is going to give us a free merchant, so why don't we go to Code of Laws first? It'll be 12 turns. Our scout here in the south has discovered the coastline, and their navigable rivers do lead to the ocean, which is pretty handy. I'm going to send this one down here and see what we can find. I have another one up here who's going to fill in the gaps over to the west of Yaso de Harapura. I have no idea what we did, but we've completed a milestone towards the Great Library. It's because we gained another codex from completing writing. We also got another science on our library and have unlocked the ability to steal technologies. We're probably going to start doing this with our influence. Another event called the Dream Visitor. I have no idea what spawned this, but we can get another codex, probably the milestone now that I'm looking at it, or we can get +50 to culture. The problem with getting another codex is we don't have another library to be able to slot them in. Libraries are a building that can only be built in cities, not towns, but having that codex could help us in the long term. Whereas the culture, this is less than 2 turns. I think that's what we'll do. If we take a look in the Civilopedia, it says libraries and academies contain slots, as does the Nalanda Wonder. The Palace, of course, has one, but it says to excel on this legacy path with the codexes, players are going to need multiple cities with the appropriate constructibles. Next up on the tech tree, we still have not gotten sailing, which is not too big of a deal. We don't have any coastal cities, but we are going to come back and grab this once we settle that next settlement. We could also go with irrigation, which gives us another +1 to our settlement limit, plus access to the garden and hanging gardens, which has already been completed. I think this is the way. A lot of these are locked anyways until we complete irrigation. So I'm thinking we go bronze working to get the burning arrow tier 2 and then into currency. You can see mathematics is all the way over here, and that's where the academy is, which also has 3 more codex slots. So I'm thinking we should beeline towards mathematics, but we're going to need a lot more science in order to make that happen, because a lot of these techs are interconnected. What we maybe should have done is not get the mastery until we get all the way up to mathematics, and then double back for some of these. There's a hostile galley in the water, and it looks like it's what Segunia popped, or it was that old galley that we saw from a while back, but either way, we're going to take a shot at it. 4 more experience. Oh my goodness. Look at Athenae. Look at some of these awesome tiles here. I'm a little jealous of their starting positions. Maybe I should have re-rolled ours a couple of times and really cheesed it. Me being stuck up here in the snow, making ends meet, doesn't seem really fair. I'm going to continue moving our warrior over and prepare our settler, which actually has more movement than our warriors do. Maybe it's because they have the donkey. More growth in Appalachia. There's no culture tiles here to speak of, so next up is probably food and production. Remember that production gets converted over into gold for us. There is a cultural tile up here in the Tega that would be in range, but we have to grab one of these coastal tiles first. It looks like this island might have some settleable land. I need to send a scout over there as soon as we get sailing so our unit can embark. This is a coastal region, so we won't take any damage going into it. For now, I'm going to take the happy and the production. I also need to consider starting to put some gold into our settlements. Notice the library is not one of the buildings that can be completed here. all the buildings that can be built in a town specifically say can be purchased in towns. We have not been building up our towns very much. We're going to lose a turn by walking into the water here, but that's fine. And more pop shots on the galley. Just continue to sit there, buddy. No big deal. Unfortunately, the burning arrow can't set the ocean on fire. Our warrior is now in the position to grab Segunya. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to take a turn, though. So I don't know what that galley can do towards this warrior. It should be able to survive the one turn. Even though Disperse Independent is highlighted, even though I have 0 movement. Let's try clicking it. Oh, look at that. Plus 100 culture. Apparently dispersing the independent does not require any movement. So where are we going to settle? We already said right here, right? Nice coastal city. We can start exploiting the sea. And I think the next city I want is going to be down here. A nice Petra would be beautiful. And there's also another city location down here that would be pretty good. It has gold, kaolin, ivory, and silk. And our commander received some experience points for that. I'm not exactly sure why, because that warrior doesn't seem to be in range of the commander. But we'll take the level. And I'm going to give Storm +2 combat strength for range units within the command radius when attacking. Jose has offered us another culture exchange. We're up to 220 influence. I did want to save some of that influence to start stealing from people. I mean, when I say it like that, it sounds so bad. But yeah, I think I can do a culture exchange. Let's check out old Trung Trak, who's been building a bunch of wonders. There's the steel technological advancement. It can take 9 to 15 turns to execute. Execution time and reveal chance can both be increased if you're being counter-spied by the target. We are not being counter-spied, so, and it says a success chance of 100%. Reveal chance of 50. Yeah, let's do it. I'm a bit concerned, though, because I have no idea how strong her military is. It can't be too big, because I believe she's completed a couple of wonders. We can go into the age progress. Somebody's already built 2 wonders here. Oh, this is a decent way. When we go over to rankings, you can see her age progress is 1 out of 7, which means she has completed 1 wonder. We are leading in the Great Library and the Silk Roads, so that's pretty good. We'll worry about her military when that time comes. But it would be really nice to start with, you know, half the continent going into the exploration age. Although Jose seems to be encroaching on us a little bit more. Over in the west, we have revealed a lot more of the continent as we suspected. I'm going to continue to go down south. Actually, I may go north with this guy here and allow him to do it because I want to see what's on this island way up here. So I will start the progress of bringing them back. And as soon as they're done down here... Oh, it's another village. Befriending them could really help our science games. It doesn't look like anybody else is doing it right now. We have completed Code of Laws, which means we gain a free merchant. Our merchants are called the Watanabe. We gain plus 25 gold per resource acquired when creating a trade route. We also gain the Order social policy. Let's check those social policies. I do want more influence, although we are doing decent. I need to increase our happiness so we get a couple more celebrations, so I can throw oratory in there. If we look at it, we're 14 turns from our next celebration. Not too bad. More growth in Alabama. And once again, I think we're going to concentrate on this culture. Also, one more happiness as well, which means it's time for another civic. We have access to the Petra now. We could get access to the Emil Bell. Tactics would be important if we do decide to go to war. We'd get access to the Terracotta Army, which grants another free army commander, plus 25 experience. But the Wei Yang Palace, with its base yield of 6 influence per turn, that's kind of nice. Entertainment gives us another settlement limit. We might want to head towards that. So does organized military, though. Okay, I just want all the things, please. Here's the Nalanda Wonder, which has the plus 2 codex slots. Why don't we try rushing towards it and see if we can accomplish that? Here is our free merchant, and it looks like no one's in range other than our 2 city-state friends. That could change here in the future. But to tell you the truth, Appalachia is a little bit closer. So let me try moving the merchant over to Appalachia and then to see if anything's in range from it. We have finished irrigation, which has given us another plus 1 to our settlement limit. So we just went from being 3 out of 3, and now all of a sudden we're 3 out of 5, which means I need to get working on another settler. because we will still have one available. I think this tile works out just fine. Lots of culture tiles in this area too. So we have founded Choctaw. So I think what we're going to do is gobble our army up. Actually, I'm going to take one more pop shot at this galley, hopefully sinking it. Not quite yet, but I'm going to gobble that army up, and we're going to send it over to the Cynthian Neapolis, because if I destroy this city-state, it unlocks a lot of area down here. I could just forward settle to the place that we want, but that's a little dangerous. There's also the option of settling close to Uluru, which is that natural wonder we found. Unfortunately, it's just not a great location. Yeah, we do get the +6 to happiness there. There is a science for the incense. I suppose if I put the city here, we'd get access to marble, some sheep, another marble, but I don't think we'd be able to get there in time before Trung Troc starts expanding over there. You only get so many settlements, which is why it's so important and why I'm continuing to look around to make sure we're making the right choice. We've got an event here offering us either a free warrior or a free migrant. I think we've done enough good growth, and we are trying to expand the military now, so I'm going to take the free warrior, and it pops over here in Cahokia. So I'll have them meet our army down here in the south. I have no idea what we've done to unlock this. It must be a follow-on event because we just unlocked a free expansionist attribute point. As we can tell, we have a +1 over here in Tecumseh. We go to our attributes, and there's our expansionist, +25 production towards training settlers. I'll take it. Our first growth for Choctaw, there's the salt. It's also a 2 food, 1 production tile with a happy. Not a lot of food here. So I think I am going to take that salt first. That way we can grow a little bit quicker. Back here on the tech tree, I think we will be going into bronze working. I want to get access to our tier 2 burning arrow and our spearman, which is the tier 2 infantry unit. Unlike in games previous, whereas spearmen were anti-cavalry and warriors were just straight infantry, in Civ VII, they're just flat infantry. Unfortunately, the salt in Choctaw is a city resource. So what we could do is take the dates out of Cahokia, put the salt there, and then put the dates over in Choctaw. Oh, look at that. We just completed another milestone. This is an economic, and it's because we've slotted, what is this, 8 resources? The galley that was just sitting there taking hits is now destroyed. So next turn, we will gobble up the army that we have. They have no more movement with this archer, so they're going to have to join next turn, which is fine. So I accidentally right-clicked over here on the tile where we're sending our scout, and the AI thinks this might be the best route. And this is because we don't have open borders with Trung Troc, who we can now see because of our vision has a bunch of tier 2 units here. 2 archers and a spearman. Luckily, we do have Moreau standing in between us, and they like us more than they like her. So I need to cancel that move. I'll probably get sailing next. In fact, sailing is 5 turns right now, but it gives us the ability to embark. Let's do it. We're going to grab sailing first and then come back for bronze working, and that way our scout can just scoot on by. Here it is. With Appalachia, the merchant does have access to a trade route with Bayok, which is going to give us access to iron and marble. Plus, we're going to get that nice, it's a sea route, even though we haven't discovered sailing yet. That's kind of neat. That is a long way around, but it looks like we'd have to leave from Choctaw. So on the way to Choctaw we go. The way you do trade routes in Civ VII is you literally move the unit where you're intending to do trade with, and then you'll be able to initiate the trade route. This next turn, we will add the burning arrow to our army, and our army still gets the 3 movement, so we will giddy up this way. We'll start by going there. I am sitting at 421 gold, which is a little much, so I do need to start improving some of these areas. I'm going to start with the altars because they give us +3 to influence for every altar. I had not been taking advantage of that quite yet. Kind of like the bonuses here. There's already a woodcutter here, so I don't want to disturb that. So we'll put the altar right there. Already ready for our second pop here in Choctaw. I like the iron for the +1 combat strength to infantry units. I also like the culture over here, though. I think we'll go first to this iron, the +3 production is literally going to be converted right into gold. We go back into Choctaw, you can see now we have 11 gold per turn coming out of there, which is going to help because I want to start building up our city-states. I also need to get working on another settler. Where am I going to put it? It's either going to be over here, further down here. We also could take our influence and just incorporate them for 240 influence. The issue is the is right next to Tikal, so it really limits their growth. Moreau doesn't have any great resources or tiles either. I mean, Lafayette's got a ton of available building room down there, but you can see they are hostile with Jose, which sort of makes sense. Looking at Jose's relationships, they are hostile with Lafayette and neutral with Trung Troc. I want this settlement. So maybe I do forward settle there with the army in place because that is going to upset them quite a bit. I'm not exactly sure where we're going to end up making that last settlement, but I think that's enough for this episode. So let me get this one in the books. I'm trying to record 2 or 3 today, and that way I can have a few come out during the week. We'll see how that goes. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Please let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see more or less of. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, I'll talk to you soon.